All signs seem to be pointing towards Kyrie Irving signing with the Nets in free agency, which would likely mean the team would move on from all-star D'Angelo Russell. How should that work out? Did you hear David Jacoby sitting here on our set talking about it yesterday? If you missed it, here's what he thinks.
I'm Sean Marks. I might rather have D'Angelo Russell than Kyrie Irving. I know Kyrie Irving is a much better basketball player, but this track record that you just mentioned, it went bad the last 2 times he switched teams. Well, not switched teams, but it was on a team. And then we're going to do it again? And I'm gonna lock him in for hundreds of millions of dollars for years and years? What if it goes like this again?
You could see Jalen's reaction to that. We had required reading on this subject from Zach Lowe. He polled 30 team executives, and he writes a majority of the execs, about 75%, said that on talent alone, Irving was still worth $8 to $10 million more than Russell. But about half of those said if the salary gap widened to that level, concerns about chemistry would have them leaning towards sticking with Russell in scenarios that do not include Durant. And so there is a lot to unpack in this conversation. Let me bring my man.
What scenarios do not include Durant?
Well, that's my first question. Because when we brought this up, that was the first thing you said to me in the meeting this morning, that you do not believe. Well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. What do you believe relative to the scenarios involving Kyrie and KD?
I think everything for Brooklyn includes Kevin Durant into the equation. And if you get Kyrie as a landing spot, I think that ultimately helps you with Kevin Durant because of their relationship. So, like, and I look at this thing, and it also, this is how I know that David Jacoby really doesn't believe the words that came out of his mouth. Because I know he said it for TV effects. The operative words. One might rather have D'Lo than Kyrie. He didn't come out and say, I would have D'Angelo Russell more than Kyrie. Let's put this in perspective. D'Lo had an incredible year, Greeny, but D'Lo doesn't get those same touches unless Karis LeVert gets hurt. Karis LeVert was the guy for the Brooklyn Nets that was putting on a show at the beginning of the year. D'Lo has had a good year.
Well, let me stop you right here. I think this is important because I think a lot of fans out there, let's just be honest, did not watch a lot of Brooklyn Nets basketball this year. We know he developed into an all-star. A lot of people's memory of him is still the immature kid who did all the stuff he did with the cell phone in L.A. Just how good is D'Angelo Russell?
I think D'Lo is a talented kid. He can pass the ball. I don't see him as a big-time free agent. I don't even put him in the same conversation as Kyrie Irving.
Now, the game is not even in the same realm.
No, it's not. Kyrie Irving is such an elite player because of his shot-making ability. I'm not saying that D'Lo can't be that. He's still very young right now. But to put him in the same conversation as Kyrie Irving, I mean, you're doing a disservice to all basketball fans.
Okay, fair enough. So then let me ask you the question that I asked that sort of provoked Jacoby to say what he said yesterday. Kyrie was Robin to LeBron's Batman in Cleveland. They won a championship. He wasn't happy. He got himself out of there. He's Batman in Boston with a good team around him and a coach everybody seems to think is a great coach. And he was extraordinarily unhappy there, obviously, and is now leaving there. So what are the circumstances in which Kyrie emerges happy, regardless of what the outcome of this free agency
Playing
is?
with
What
Kevin
does he
Durant.
want? That's what he wants.
Playing with Kevin Durant.
And we know that's not an option for at least a year.
It isn't, but still, that brotherhood, them being together, I think would alleviate a lot of the frustrations because they would both be on the same page.
So he likes that better than he liked playing with LeBron, because he didn't like playing with LeBron.
I think Kevin Durant and LeBron James are two different people. Yeah. I think, you've seen LeBron, call, look, LeBron is one of the best players to ever play the game, but LeBron has always called Kyrie like the young fella, the little guy, my young guy.
Right.
And Kyrie and Kevin Durant don't see each other as big brother, little brother. They see themselves as brothers. There's a different way they communicate, which is drastically different than what LeBron James and Kyrie had.
So at this moment, Kyrie to the Nets, you think remains as on as ever, and the KD piece just sort of hovers around and above that?
Yes, I do. I think that's where the current landscape is at right now. And everybody's like, well, do you take Kyrie if you're not sure about Kevin Durant? Well, if you don't take Kyrie, then that definitely doesn't help you with Kevin Durant.
Listen, the most underrated, the sneaky big part of all this is the order in which the dominoes start to fall. We're going to be here all next week with this and the afternoon specials and everything else. And the order in which it all happens, I think, is so incredibly important. You're sitting here telling me they don't get KD if they don't get Kyrie. And so they got to get Kyrie locked up almost immediately.
One would think it seems that way, Greeny.
It is going to be an extraordinary time.
We're so glad you're watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, make sure you subscribe to ESPN Plus. We'll see you there.